President Obama talks about bipartisan support on the road to revamping health care, but according to our next guest, his lead voice in the House keeps shutting them out. Illinois Congressman Peter Roskam asked the president about that 2 weeks ago today.
But they've really been stiff-armed by Speaker Pelosi. Now, I know you're not in charge of that chamber, but there really is this dynamic of, frankly, being shut out.
But he still has not gotten a response. Congressman Roskam, a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, joins us right now from our Chicago bureau. Good morning to you, Congressman.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
So 2 weeks ago today, you were there at that lunchtime meeting with the President of the United States, and you said, hey, we'd like to work with you, Mr. President, on the Republican side, but the Speaker of the House is shutting us down. What were you talking about?
Well, look, I mean, essentially there have been time and time again when House Republicans have come to the table. In the Ways and Means Committee, on which I serve, 38 different amendments were offered to the health care bill last July, and each one of them was just swatted away on a partisan roll call. So it's that type of approach that I don't think serves the country well. And the irony is, I served with President Obama in the state Senate in Illinois, and we were able to negotiate and actually accomplish a great deal on some very controversial things. So I think that his style needs to change. He's got to shed Speaker Pelosi and ultimately decide that he wants to work with Republicans on Capitol Hill if he wants to get something done. Yeah.
In the meantime, on one of the political blogs this morning out of Washington, there's a story that says that Nancy Pelosi, you know, in public she praises the president, but behind the scenes she's really angry at the White House because the White House jammed the Senate bill onto her and said, get this passed, even though she knew not in a million years could they do it.
Well, and I think if you rewind the tape, there's probably a lot of blame back and forth. I know that the Speaker moved the cap-and-trade bill last year when the White House, even though they're in favor of the bill, they didn't want to move it then. So there's a lot of dysfunction, I think, at the leadership level on the Democratic side. And the irony is they've been entrusted with supermajorities in both chambers, and yet don't seem to be able to get anything done.
And, you know, I think it's that supermajority in her chamber that's got her a little worried, Congressman, because I think she can read the handwriting on the wall and knows that there's a real good possibility that the Republicans could take back the House in the next election cycle.
Oh, I think her herd on Capitol Hill is going to be thinned this November. There's no doubt about it. And the number of candidates on the Republican side that are stepping forward and the caliber of those candidates is really pretty profound. Right. People that for one reason or another wouldn't run in 06 or 08, they're in the game this time.
And before you go, let me ask you about this. In the other chamber, over in the Senate side, there was a bipartisan jobs bill worked out last night. Mitch McConnell was taking it to the floor, the Baucus-Grassley bill. At the last minute, Reid said, nope, we're not going to work on that. Here's the bill. I did it. You know, what happened to bipartisanship? What is the dynamic there? What was he thinking?
Look, my sense is, I mean, this is an indication of why Reid is upside down in Nevada, meaning his negatives outweigh his positives by almost orders of magnitude. So I think these guys seem like they're tone deaf. They just don't understand that the American public wants us to focus on jobs and economic growth and get beyond the nonsense in Washington.
Well, there's plenty of nonsense in Washington, as you well know. All right, Congressman Peter Roskam, Republican from Illinois, thanks very much for joining us today from Chicago.
Thanks, Steve.